All right, so OpenAI just dropped their blueprint for the future of AI. And let me tell you, according to them, that future is coming way, way faster than you probably think. So let's break down what's actually in this plan.
Yeah, this isn't just some boring business plan. It's more like a declaration of intent. I mean, listen to this. OpenAI's chief scientist says we're less than a decade away from superintelligence. So, what does that even mean? We're talking about an AI that isn't just smarter than you or me. It's potentially smarter than all of humanity combined. And they think it's basically right around the corner? Wow. Okay, so superintelligence sounds huge, right? But what does the actual path to get there look like? Well, for OpenAI, it's all about one thing: automating the process of scientific discovery itself.
So check out their internal goals, because the timeline here is, honestly, it's wild. By 2025, that's super soon, they're aiming for an AI research intern that can help out their human scientists. Okay, cool. But then, get this, just 2.5 years after that, they want a fully autonomous AI researcher, one that can run entire major research projects all by itself. I mean, that's the kind of speed we're talking about here. It's an incredible leap. So the big question is, how on earth do you even start to build something like that? Well, OpenAI's whole strategy really just boils down to three main pillars. You've got research, product, and infrastructure. And you should think of these three things as a kind of flywheel. It works like this. The groundbreaking research they do, that leads to better products. Then, those products bring in money, and just as important, data. That money and data funds the absolutely massive infrastructure they need. And, you guessed it, that powerful infrastructure lets them do even more ambitious research. It's a cycle where each part just keeps spinning the others faster and faster.
This right here, this basically shows their entire worldview, all laid out in a tech stack. Right at the bottom, you have the physical stuff: the chips, the server racks, the data centers. On top of that, that's where they train their massive AI models. Then you've got the platform layer, which is how we get access through things like APIs. And right at the very top are the apps, like ChatGPT. The key thing to get here is that by controlling every single layer of this stack, they're not just making a product. No, they're building the foundational platform that they hope everyone else will build on top of.
Okay, let's zoom in on that bottom layer for a second, the infrastructure. Because the numbers we're about to see are, well, they're almost hard to wrap your head around. They really show you the true, staggering scale of what OpenAI is trying to pull off here.
Get this. Right now, OpenAI has already committed to building out enough data centers and compute to use over 30 gigawatts of power. To put that in perspective, that's more energy than a lot of small countries use. We're talking a massive amount of power. And that commitment to power and hardware, well, it comes with an absolutely mind-boggling price tag: $1.4 trillion over just the next few years. That's not a typo. That is the cost of building the foundation for AGI.
But wait, it gets even crazier. Their ambition doesn't stop there. The long-term goal is to build something they call an infrastructure factory. This would be a system so ridiculously efficient that it can add 1 gigawatt of new compute capacity every single week. Think about that. They're not just building the thing, they're building a machine that builds the thing at an exponential rate.
Okay, so when you hear about all this immense power, an obvious and, frankly, kind of scary question pops up. How do you control it, right? How do you make sure a superintelligent AI actually stays on our side? Well, OpenAI is trying to tackle this head-on, with big changes to both their company structure and their safety research. So first up, the structure. They've gone from what they admitted was a crazy, convoluted setup to something way, way simpler. Now you have a nonprofit foundation sitting right at the top. And that foundation has the final say, ultimate control over the for-profit company below it. The big idea here? The mission is in charge, not the profits. And that for-profit part, it's a special kind of company called a public benefit corporation, or PBC. And this is a really important legal detail. It basically means that by law, their board has to prioritize their mission, which is to benefit all of humanity, over making money for shareholders. So if it ever comes down to a choice between the mission and the mission has to win. That's the rule. Then there's the tech side of safety. They're thinking about it in 5 distinct layers, kind of like a defense-in-depth system. It starts at the very core with value alignment. Does the AI fundamentally care about the right things? Does it love humanity? Then there's goal alignment. Does it actually follow instructions and work well with us? Next is reliability. Can we trust what it's telling us? Then adversarial robustness. Can bad actors trick it or attack it? And finally, at the very outside, you have systemic safety, stuff like security and who has access to the data. Each layer is another backup, another safeguard. So let's get to the biggest question of all. What is the actual point of all this? Why spend trillions of dollars to build something so unbelievably powerful? I can tell you the answer isn't just about making a slightly better chatbot. No, it's about fundamentally changing the speed of human progress itself. And this is the grand vision that justifies that staggering investment. The ultimate goal is to build a tool for science itself, an AI that can help us solve humanity's greatest challenges. Just imagine it, one massive supercomputer working 24/7 on a cure for cancer, while another one is figuring out how to solve climate change, all of it happening at a speed that is just impossible for us to even comprehend right now. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, he put this whole vision into a really powerful perspective. He asked everyone to just stop and think about the last 200 years of human progress. Everything from the steam engine all the way to the internet, and how every discovery just snowballed into the next one. Okay, so you have that 200 years of progress in your head. Now he asks, what if you could take all of that and compress it into just 20 years? Or, and this is the really mind-bending part, maybe even just 2? That's the scale of the world-changing potential we are talking about here. And that really leaves us with a final, massive question to chew on. If AI can really achieve 2 centuries of scientific progress in a decade or two, what comes next? What does the world even look like after that happens? It's a future that's both incredibly exciting and, let's be honest, pretty uncertain. And according to OpenAI, it's a future we're already building right now.